Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome. Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's workshop. I'm very excited for this workshop. Hello, Makina. Hello, Nikisha. Hello, Natasha, Brenda. Hope you're all having a great Sunday. And thank you so much for joining us. So, I would love to, first, I want to welcome everyone, and just a quick little background. And I'm Jessica, founder of Microloc Mastery. I'm also a licensed social worker for, oh my goodness, almost 20 years. And when I was developing naturally beautiful hair care Microloc Mastery, I definitely wanted to have a comprehensive approach to hair care and wellness, because I believe when you have great hair, when you feel good, you look good, and vice versa. And so I'm very happy to be celebrating Social Work Month today to bring on our guest that we have. We are going to be talking about Beyond the Strands, the mental, spiritual, and physical link to hair health. I'm happy to bring to the stage our guest. We have Amoy Virgo. She is a Microloc Mastery Certified Consultant, MSOL, BSN, RN, and Gina Burton Fisher, LMT. She's an herbalist, Reiki master, holistic health, and energy practitioner. So I would like to introduce these ladies and have them share what they're going to be doing today with you all. And welcome.
Thanks, Jessica. And welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. So I'm Amoy, and this is Gina.
Nice to meet you all.
And we're really excited about the workshop that we're doing today, because I think that even though the connection between our hair and skin health and physical health, mental health, spiritual health, like all of those things are interconnected, but I don't think that we really utilize that knowledge to guide our practice. And so we definitely see the impact of, those things on our hair and our skin, but sometimes we don't like take it a step further and do a deep dive on what is exactly happening, right? And making sure that we're optimizing the health of all those.
Right. So it's gonna be our attempt today to help you all put those pieces together and begin to tailor your practice in a way that not only strengthens your hair and your hair health, but your overall health in general.
So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the presentation for you guys, and then we can start having some convo about who we are and why we're talking about this.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm here. No worries. There we go.
Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about what is bringing us together, right? So Gina and I are business partners in running the organization Sankofa Wellness Community. And actually, Sankofa was just started this year in January. Feels like it's been forever.
We have been running since then.
Oh my gosh. It feels like it's been 5 years, guys. So, but Sankofa Wellness Community is a holistic wellness center that really is dedicated to that mind, body, soul connection, right? And so we really wanted to create a space for members of the BIPOC community and allies to be able to just go back to the ways that we've traditionally done things. Things like just creating community, right? Coming together to share practices grounded in healing, grounded in simplicity, grounded in sustainability. And so really aptly named Sankofa because it means to go back and get it, right? So go back to the ways that we traditionally did things based on ancestral beginnings and those practices.
And some of the ways that we are doing that are community building is through movement, is through spiritual experience, is through teaching self-reliance and learning how to forage, learning to explore the land, and getting connected through community and through the places where we find ourselves today, and really trying to invigorate those third spaces that seem sort of less and less without having to be so deeply entrenched around finances and things like that. We really are looking to build a space where we all are feeling safe and we're feeling grounded and connected, not just in ancestral practices, but also in everyday life.
Yeah, definitely. So classes like yoga, meditation, African dance, workshops such as the one that we're going to be doing today. So those are some of the ways that we're bringing people together to, just come together to do these things that are really healing, right? And so a little bit more about who we are individually now that we've spoken about Sankofa. As Jessica mentioned, I am a master's prepared registered nurse, and I've been a nurse for a little over 20 years, actually. And I've really practiced across all settings, right? So I've done a lot of acute care at the bedside, just in different, environments. A lot of that work was, in the ICUs and in the community. And I brought a lot of my nursing knowledge to my practice in the salon, where I've owned the Lock Artistry salon now for about 4 years. This month actually makes 4 years. And thank you. But, I brought my nursing knowledge and practice into that space because, like Jessica mentioned, all of these things are interconnected, right? And so you can't talk about hair and scalp health without also thinking about other parts of ourselves and who we are as humans. And so, I'm fortunate to be able to have that perspective and bring it to the Lock Artistry. But then Sankofa was born out of that, also recognizing that, yeah, I can have a space for people to come and take care of their hair and get their hair, groomed and healthy and whatnot. But the other pieces of that, the mind, the body, movement, the spirituality, community, those things are equally important, right? And so Sankofa then helps people to be able to tap into some of those things as well. So that's kind of, I guess, on a very surface level, been my journey into this.
My path was a little more winding and not straightforward. And so I initially started out as a Reiki practitioner, and doing that work was the spiritual side of sort of the work that Amoy was doing, and recognizing, okay, but there's a piece missing. So then I became a massage therapist, and there was another piece missing. And so then I became an herbalist, and I'm, again, trying to put all of these pieces together and recognizing that they are all so deeply interconnected. And the way to begin healing someone is, you can affect change on one layer or one level, but in order to affect a total body change, there really does need to be this interconnected web that is worked on. And as we work on each piece of that web, we begin to strengthen that web, right? So I've been doing Reiki for over 20 years, and a body worker for over 10, and an herbalist for, I think we're in our 4th year now of that work. And I continue to learn and grow and add new skills in order to serve the community. And Sankofa, not only was born out of this connection with Amoy, but also the recognition that we are missing that integral part where someone can go to get their hair, to get their body, to get their spirituality serviced, and really the desire to have a sort of one place where you can go and achieve a lot of these things. So it's really been a beautiful journey.
Yeah. And one thing that is obvious to us, but may not be so obvious to everyone else, is Sankofa and Lock Artistry both now reside in the same location. So we actually just moved to a new location in January, and now both brands are operating from the same physical location. So a lot of times, I've had clients getting their hair done upstairs, and we have a dance class going on downstairs. And so it's just really cool, that flow. All right, so enough about us. What is your hair mood today? How's your hair feeling? Drop an emoji in the chat and let us know. How's your hair feeling?
My hair has been suffering, but it's because I'm also on my lady time, which has a big to do about how different your hair can be based on how you're feeling, how much water you're having, what time of month it is if you're a woman.
Yeah.
So what about your hair?
I feel like my hair is happy today.
It does look quite shiny.
Yeah. It's happy today.
It's really very pretty.
Listen, I'm going to ride the wave. But our hair is, it tells our business, and we're going to definitely be jumping into that in a little bit. Think about one thing that you may love about your hair, and also what is your biggest hair challenge, right? So think about these things, and then we're going to have a discussion at the end. And as we're going through this, perhaps some of this will make more sense, or you can understand why you're having these, issues or challenges with your hair as we share more information. All right, so another question. We have a few questions. On a scale of 1 to 5, how much do you feel that your mental wellness, so stuff like stress, anxiety, and your emotional state, impacts your hair and the health of it, right? So is it not at all, a little bit, somewhat, quite a bit, or extremely?
Do you find that it's changed since, as you age, like your emotional state of being affects your hair more or less, being that you're older or that you're younger?
So it looks like a lot of people, well, Natasha says her hair is great. So, and Ossette's hair is healthy. Thank you, Lord, right?
Right.
Jessica's hair's been washed recently, so we feel good. Isn't it crazy how my hair is bomb when I wash it? I have a fresh wash. It moves differently. It just it behaves differently. But that exfoliation is important, right? And Nakisha and Tanya feel like there's definitely an extreme impact, right? How they feel that their mental health impacts their hair health. And then we have Makina saying quite a bit, Natasha saying somewhat. All right. So moving on, we're going to talk a little bit about that, right? So mental health and hair. So we know that stress and anxiety, obviously, on a high level, impacts hair loss and scalp issues, right? But let's talk about really how that works. So we know that stress and anxiety are an inherent part of navigating humanity in general, and definitely can speak for the socio-political climate now in America, that has compounded what was already a stressful environment, right? And so the point is there's going to be stressors, guys, but it's really how we allow those stressors to be internalized that then creates these challenges for us, and we start seeing the resulting hair loss and scalp issues. So we know that stress definitely raises the cortisol levels, right, in our bodies. And cortisol causes inflammation, right? And so it's these inflammatory states that will definitely start having the downstream impact of hair loss and scalp issues. And we're going to get into that with a little bit more granularity later on when we talk about the physical piece, right? We're going to talk about the gut and all that. But suffice it to say that there's definitely a connection, and our hair and our scalp will always tell our business.
Absolutely. The more stressed and ashen-faced you are, the more ashy your skin is, the more dry your hair can become. And that is a big cortisol plays a big role there
Yeah.
because it's designed to, it's a survival skill for us, right? It causes our body in certain ways to slow down, to absorb food differently. It can, initially it can trigger that fight or flight mode, right? So that we are in survival. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but because we live in this environment where we're chronically triggered into fight or flight mode, it really can cause long-term effects like malabsorption, low oxygen absorption. I mean, we can retain belly fat because it can cause hormonal imbalances, which all affect our physical health and our hair health.
Absolutely. And like Gina said, cortisol, it really is what helps us with that fight or flight, right? So you definitely don't want to get rid of that. The idea here isn't to necessarily get rid of anything. You don't want to, get rid of your cortisol level or your body's response to it.
We don't have
It's
to
all about
fight with
balance.
our body, right? We don't have to fight with it, but we do need to understand that it is always trying to help us survive.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
to keep us safe.
Right. That is its basic role, is to keep us safe. And in order to do that, it has certain mechanisms. So if we're triggering those mechanisms, we also have to untrigger those mechanisms.
Exactly. And so creating balance is a takeaway with as far as the mental health piece. The triggers, the stressors, those things are not going to go away, but how we allow them to impact us is really where we have the greatest opportunity, right? And so, what's going on at work might inherently be stressful, but are you going to allow it to stress you out to the point that you're taking it home and it's breaking you down, right? And then also just really, it's important to then check in with ourselves too, though, on a consistent basis, because sometimes we feel like just because we're getting through and we're doing the things that we're not stressed or we're not internalizing the stress. But we could definitely have that low level stress that we're not necessarily feeling because we're still being effective, right? It doesn't mean that it's not impacting you. So definitely do check-ins to understand what might actually be going on.
And your body will show you those signs.
Yeah,
you'll
definitely
get things like little heart palpitations or fluttering in the stomach. Those are ways to show that like we've begun the process of releasing cortisol into our bloodstream. And then you can sort of check in on how to soothe and calm that, because your body will all automatically do these things. But we can also, by like slowing down our breathing or deciding we're going to ground and spend a couple of minutes outside, we can begin to reverse that process and let the body know it's safe and that it doesn't need to go into full on, like we've got to run out of here like a maniac.
So what about menopause? Brenda, that's a really good question, right? Does it affect your hair? Menopause definitely does because it causes hormonal imbalances. And so honestly, anything that causes an imbalance in your body is definitely going to impact your skin and your hair. It's just a matter of how. So you can definitely, a lot of people, when they start going through menopause, they'll see thinning in their hair. They may also see that their hair is falling out in certain places. So, when I see clients who are coming to me to start locks, for instance, right? And I'm doing a consultation, and I actually had a situation recently where this woman, she already had hair that was pretty low density. And she wanted to start locks and really thinking about like, what's the best method for her? And she wanted like super small locks, right? And we had to have a conversation because she's premenopausal, but if your hair is already pretty low density, tiny locks may not be the best option for her as she's going into the next chapter of her life, because now think about how sustainable that will be, right? So yeah, definitely has a big impact.
And when we talk about hormonal imbalances, what we're really talking about is it's not it's estrogen reduction,
Yes.
right? That is what causes us to put on weight, because estrogen is housed in the fat, and estrogen is an anti-inflammatory in the body.
Mhm.
So what we're talking about is that your body is beginning to go into states of inflammation because, we're having this thing that has always been used for inflammation reduction, and now it's being less and less, right? So it can cause a variety of things, not just in your hair, but joint problems, gut issues, brain fog. We're not experts around menopause, but these are all symptoms that you may be coming into perimenopause or full-on menopause. And so they're things to think about. And there can be food adjustments or talking, right? Yeah. We can talk to our practitioners, health practitioners, around how to manage that. And if you're doing it naturally, you would want to talk to a naturopathic doctor. If you're doing it with estrogen or estrogen patches, then you really want to get in contact with your OBGYNs and an endocrinologist.
Absolutely. So people have started answering this question on this next slide. How would you describe your spiritual well-being and its impact on your hair health? And so Makina said she feels it's very connected, right? She's feeling spiritually aligned, positively influences hair health. Some of us might be somewhat connected. You believe that there's a link, but you don't always nurture it, right? We might also have folks who feel neutral around us, right? Haven't considered the connection between them. Somewhat disconnected, feel spiritually imbalanced and think it affects, or very disconnected, right? Can you think of an experience where stress or emotions noticeably affected your hair?
Oh, yeah. I went through a pretty difficult relationship, and I began hair thinning because that relationship was so stressful that I puffed up like a puffer fish.
Yes.
And then my hair started to thin, and it was a really traumatic experience, not just in the relationship. And so I did, I left that connection, but it lasted for almost a year. And it was sort of this ongoing thing where I was putting on weight without understanding why that was happening, and then losing my hair and going, oh no, is my thyroid out? Is this out? Is that out? And it just turned that it was, I was in such a fight or flight state with trying to figure out that, and it's emotional and stressful, that I began to lose hair in the front.
And so when you said, puffing up and hair loss and stress, cortisol.
Right, for sure.
And one of the ways that, that you can definitely tell that you're having really increased cortisol levels is in the belly fat also. That's almost a dead giveaway that your cortisol levels are elevated. And so again, just thinking about the connection, the word that's going to keep coming up for us is balance.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, and it's so hard to get rid of belly fat because it's so connected to it's really a myriad of things. It's not that you can ignore everything and just exercise and it's going to go away, right? It's so interconnected. And so if we're doing all the things but we're still carrying a bunch of stress, you're still never going to get rid of it,
right?
Yeah. Adulting is rough. All right, so Gina, you're going to jump into spiritual health and hair.
So as per our conversation, and some of you are making the connection already, that our spiritual health and hair depression is kind of a real thing, and even though we are echoing something from the outside in, really what we're doing is showing the outside world what it is that we're experiencing. And a lot of us are really great at masking. Some of you said my hair feels great because I washed it today, and that's something that we're always taught, which is put your face on when you go out in the world and make sure that your hair looks great, and it's a way for you to mask how you're feeling. But over time, you'll experience that, oh, I can't mask it anymore, so I really have to deal with it. Hair also carries a lot of energy. It carries energy, not only the energy around you, but also ancestral energy. And, like you from 10 years ago, if you haven't cut your hair in 10 years, that's still in you. It's still in your hair. You're still carrying it. And that's kind of sometimes why we feel the desire to like shave it all off or cut it after we've had a really traumatic experience. It's because that hair is carrying a lot of energy. And Native Americans talked about the hair as a sensory organ. And there were some studies done around how they could distinguish people, animals, and even tell directions based on their hair. And this isn't like a supernatural power that's just carried by Native Americans. It's also carried by us and is exhibited in some of our traditional cultural practices. But we've, over time, we've kind of gotten away from those practices. We can also tell a story about our health and well-being, but I want to talk a little bit about how some of the things that we see today in terms of hairstylings are actually cultural practices from before the transatlantic slave trade. So before colonization and the transatlantic slave trade, we had a variety of hair expressions, and you can still see some of those hair expressions on the continent, but locks in particular were spiritual dressings from the Maasai people, from the Akan people, and the Rastafari adopted it as well. And they're really a symbol around connection to divinity and connection to root, and understanding that this is a part of you throughout your whole entire existence, from little into big, right? But also styles like braiding cornrows, that was a way to communicate your station, to communicate where you lived on the continent, what tribe you came from, and your station, whether or not you were married. These were all design stylings that existed in cornrows, and that's kind of why you see these really intricate designs even today. It's a throwback from something that we had before we came here, and we are just expressing that through our creativity. There were also other sorts of shavings and cutting styles to determine whether or not you were a warrior or who you were amongst your tribe. And even adornments that we wear today, like beads and shells, are direct correlation through spiritual practices of like the Yoruba tribe and the Mende people, because shells are actually currency to water spirits. And throughout sort of our history, we have done this thing where we've become really resilient even around hair. So even when our hair has been sort of policed and put into a box, we've come up with ways to get around those policings and be very resilient. So just in that, your hair is a reflection of who you are culturally, energetically, spiritually. Yes. And it's absolutely gorgeous when you begin to understand some of the things that you don't even understand that you're doing have deep cultural practices, and they're carried down throughout our traditions, but we don't understand where they're coming from. It's our epigenetics, it's our culture expressing those things. And until we sort of begin to trace our root energetically, spiritually, we don't totally understand what it is that we're doing, right? So that's the part around spirituality that your hair holds. And it's just this way of you. I actually do lymphatic drainage.
Yes.
I actually do.
That's one of the services that we offer here.
And it's really an incredible practice, not to get sidetracked, but it's so helpful to help get some of the cortisol out of your system as well. So.
But touching on what you mentioned, not understanding like some of these practices, but really getting the impact, right?
Right.
So think about the lock journey.
Right.
And a lot of people are so like, there's a shift for them spiritually as they go through the lock journey. And I feel like locks really brings you closer to who you are at a very organic level. Particularly for people of color, right? It brings out just our roots, for lack of a better word.
Absolutely. And there's a way of expression in that lock journey that you don't get in other stylings. And because it's your hair and you're deciding very intentionally to keep all of that energy with you.
Yeah.
Right. And you're deciding very intentionally to express yourself through your hair. Like these, I have little things that I have made that I'm like, oh, this is going in my hair, or shells, which you put in my hair. Like, this is going in my hair. This is what I want to embody. This is what I want to express.
And it's really aligning ourselves with what our hair naturally wants to do. Like, our hair naturally wants to do this.
Right.
So it's really just allowing that process to happen. And I feel like it brings, like I said before, just brings us closer to who we are.
Right.
Right. So Natasha says she takes some time alone with her singing bowls to clear her energy.
That's
then ground
perfect.
up. That is
that's perfect practice.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Offset is asking, what do you think about wrapping and wearing stones and crystals on us and in our hair?
So I actually have that in one of my notes, where that tradition came out of a law in Louisiana where they said that Black women could not wear their hair out because it was such a jarring experience for their oppressors to see their hair, and they used to wear them in these ornate styles and ornate wrappings. And so Black women decided to take that oppression and turn it into something beautiful. And they created wrapping styles with ornate fabrics and ornamentals so that they could express themselves in this amazing way while still following the rules. So I think it's an amazing practice, and it's something that's like culturally ours. And it's something that, even in all of this negativity that they were experiencing, they said, I'm going to be my best, most beautiful self.
Yes.
Right.
And aesthetics aside, crystals and stones are very grounding also.
Absolutely.
They help to balance the energy, right? And so even just leaning into that, I think, is super important.
Right.
All right. We love the polls.
We love these questions. I feel like you guys are loving these questions too.
All right. So how much do you believe your physical health influences your hair growth and strength? So things like your nutrition, hydration, sleep, exercise. I know that someone had commented about this earlier. So what do you think, guys? Not at all, a little bit, somewhat, quite a lot, or extremely? And then what's one physical health habit you have that you think have positively or negatively impacted your hair? So for me, I can say exercise definitely impacts the health of your hair, right? So I try to, running for me has been the one thing that I try to force myself to do. Because, when you're exercising, and there's a lot of moisture, sweating, right? There's movement there. And you find that blood flow is also extremely heightened to your scalp and to your hair. And so as you'll see, I'll have clients come in and I'll see a lot of hair growth in the same amount of time that they were usually coming in for their appointments, but now they're having increased hair growth. Sometimes they'll tell me that they're either drinking a lot of water, they're washing their hair a lot more, or they've increased their exercise.
Right.
And so that's one thing that I know definitely sticks out.
Definitely water intake for me. But when I clean up my diet, I have significant growth right now that I should be taking care of.
I got you.
But it's almost, it really does feel like it's almost twice as much as last time because, we're doing this detox program. And I do find that when there's more water and more exercise and a clean eating, I've got way more hair than I know what to do with.
No, definitely, because you're also clearing out like free radicals and, you know, oxidative stress.
Right.
And so I think just that mobility in your body that you see from movement and from hydrating, super important to hair health. Yes, Offset, cleansing, definitely.
Yes.
It's one of the pillars, right? So physical health and hair. Let's talk a little bit about that. So we all know how important nutrition is, right, to our hair and our scalp. So vitamins and minerals like iron, vitamin D, biotin, those are some heavy hitters that we can automatically connect back to hair health, right? We all know that oxygen, the oxygen carrying capacity in your blood is the hemoglobin. And if you're anemic, for instance, your hemoglobin level is going to be low. And so if you are having this issue with like low iron levels, what's going to end up happening is you might start feeling fatigued. You might, you know, be pale, right? Low energy levels. It might impact the way that you're even thinking, right? You may not have a lot of clarity around that, but you're going to also start seeing hair loss and thinning because you're not having that oxygen go to your hair and your scalp. That oxygen is going to go to your more vital organs, right? So some ways that you can circumvent that is by eating iron-rich foods like eggs, nuts, green leafy vegetables, and beef. Beef is a good one too. And organ meats like liver, that stuff is really high in iron as well. Vitamin D promotes the growth, hair growth, and promotes the health of your follicles, right? Everyone in America is low in vitamin D. We just don't get outside enough. And so you definitely want to supplement that with, you know, you can supplement all of these things with vitamins and you know, different supplements, right? But you can also do this through your diet, through going outside and sitting in the sun for a little bit. So try to see what is the most sustainable or what you have the most access to. But it's important to recognize that however you do accomplish this balance in your nutrients, it's just important that you're getting it. But for vitamin D, you can also do like fatty fish like salmon. And then a lot of the dairy is fortified in vitamin D as well. Your omega-3s is also important, right? So that plays a big role in inflammation and achieving that balance. So again, fatty fish, nuts, chia seeds, that stuff is really rich in omegas. So let's talk about gut health. We know that gut health, well, we don't know. We're starting to talk a lot more about how important gut health is. But your gut is really the brain of your body, right? And I think not enough is said about that. You know, everyone talks about the brain, they talk about the heart, they talk about the kidneys, but we're not really talking about how important your gut is. Your gut is really a big entrance into your body and into making sure that your body is nutritionally balanced, right? And when you're talking about the health of your gut, we're talking about things like, are you able to absorb the nutrients well? Or is there some inflammation that's happening in the gut that's causing you to not be able to absorb certain vitamins and minerals? So your diet might be good, but your absorption is an issue.
So now we're starting to connect the dots.
Right, because if you're stressed out, it's going to impact your gut because it's going to be inflamed.
Right.
And inflammation is the root of all evil, guys. It's not money.
It's really inflammation for sure. Absolutely.
Right. So if you have an inflammatory state, your diet might be like the best, right? But you're not really absorbing that stuff. And so we have to pay attention to the connection, right? So you might have like chronic gut inflammation issues like irritable bowel syndrome. Well, what happens with IBS, right? With IBS, you have these triggers that then sets off a cascade in your body where you're in inflammation, right? And then you start having constipation or diarrhea or, all of these things. Your body's thrown out of whack. But what's that trigger? I was diagnosed with IBS, right? And so my triggers are when I'm like super stressed and, then I start internalizing that stress and it manifests in my body being thrown out of whack. Right. But where's the issue? The issue is that I'm out of balance. And so I'm creating an inflammatory state in my body by not paying attention to the mental health piece. Right. So we can't really minimize the impact of our mental health and spiritual health and physical health. Like they all are interconnected. So detoxing your body, but also detoxing your mind, right? Are super important for your health. So detoxing can be as simple as just flushing out your body. We're going to always come back to water, right? Mm-hmm. So drinking water isn't just hydrating. It also is flushing. It's also giving your body the ability to move things around, right? And to flow. And so you can also eat liver supporting foods like leafy greens, garlic, beets. I love beets. But that's going to improve your hair health, right? A scalp detox can be as simple as a scalp massage. And Gina is actually going to guide us in a little scalp massage right now. She is a licensed massage therapist. And so, but this isn't something that you necessarily need an LMT to do. You can do this at home by yourself. So she's going to simulate on my scalp right now.
I'm going to come around
through.
Yes. Come around the other side.
But while Gina does that, the way that you can do a scalp massage at home is when you wash your hair, which should be about once a week-ish, while your hair is wet and you've been scrubbing a little bit, manipulating that scalp, you can take the opportunity to just go around in small circles, right? And really let me turn this so we can see Gina, and really get some movement in the scalp. It helps to increase the blood flow to the scalp, and that's going to obviously help with the scalp health and help your hair.
And you don't necessarily have to be digging in your scalp with nails. If you look here, I don't have nails. That's also because I'm an LMT. But ideally, what we're looking to do is use the pads of our fingers to invigorate the scalp, right? And so you can do some gentle squeezing of your scalp and move in circles and bring some of that blood flow to the scalp, right? Forward just a bit, and you'll do the same thing in gentle circles. And if you want a little bit more blood flow, you can increase the frequency of those circles, right? So doing something like that will be really invigorating to the scalp, but you want to do it gradually. So you don't want to go into your scalp just sort of being, like giving it the business. We don't need to do all of that. Address your scalp with some love. Right. So this is also,
it does feel really good.
It's also reducing the tension of your head when you do that. Right. And you can do this on yourself, right? Yes. By doing things like that. That's a motion that we do automatically when we're stressed. So you can begin to do those things into the scalp, especially if you're feeling tension in the head, because all of that tension in your head, it reduces blood flow to your frontal lobe, so you can't think anyway. That's why you're looking to sort of, you're like trying to rub it out as it's happening. You're like, there's no thoughts coming here. I don't know why. Well, it's because your cortisol levels are reducing the oxygen to your frontal lobe, right? And also to your scalp.
Thank you, Gina. And
Thank
that
you.
did feel so good.
Oh,
Also, you raise a really good point. You do regular scalp massages and makes a huge difference for yourself and your clients. So, when we start our lock journey, right, we notice that, an inherent part of that is that you might become a little bit more tender in the scalp because we're not manipulating the scalp as much, right? We're not combing out, we're not on detangling anymore, all of that stuff. So you become tender-headed. And one of the ways that I encourage clients to maybe reduce that a little bit is by doing regular scalp massages, right? But also when people are having like alopecia, as long as they still have healthy hair follicles, I tell them if they want to start helping their hair to grow back, just do scalp massages in those areas, and you can just do it like you're sitting down watching something, little circles.
right.
That's it. If you have your favorite oil, there's no such thing as a growth oil. There's no such thing as a hair growth formula.
Everyone believes that, but it's just,
Right.
right. But because growth has to do with oxygen to the follicles.
Right.
Right. It doesn't have to do with what you're putting on top
Right.
of your scalp.
So there's certain things that will help promote that. So
Right.
like cloves,
Right.
right? Sea moss. Someone wrote sea moss in there.
Right.
Sea moss is excellent. Like
Hibiscus.
So, right.
Right.
So a lot of things will help to optimize, but there is no growth formula, right? So, but everything works together. So put a little bit of that oil, right? And massage in little circles, right? And I like also that you said that, the scalp massage for clients too, because I think it's important to teach people how to do these things because they're the biggest part of their maintenance. It's not what happens at the salon necessarily, but it's for those practices to be sustained so that they are impactful.
Right.
Right.
And if you are working with clients, you can use the scalp massage as a treatment for if you're doing sort of like a warm oil treatment. You can really get into the scalp and massage the scalp and get the oils into the scalp so that you are benefiting the clients because I believe it takes like 15 to 26 seconds to absorb the benefit of any oil that you're putting on the skin or scalp, right? So you have a couple of minutes to really benefit your clients by using those oils, and you can formulate them yourself or whatever it is that you decide to do. But this is also like super relaxing.
It is. It is.
I mean, they go down in a heartbeat. They're like, if you really want to set yourself apart, especially with clients, you offer them, the Indian head scalp massage. It's really just an additional treatment that you can do, and your people will love you.
Yes, they will. So hydration, we've definitely talked about quite a bit, but suffice it to say that is a huge part of all of this. Because if you're not, I know my hair feels and looks its best, and my scalp as well when I'm super hydrated. It behaves differently, right? And so whenever I have clients come in and they're talking about, oh, my hair is super dry, and immediately their default is perhaps to talk about products. What products do you recommend? I always start the conversation with, what is it that you're currently doing, right? And try to talk about like, what is your current maintenance? And touch on, well, what does your water intake look like? And what does your diet look like? And what does your exercise regimen look like, right? It doesn't mean that you need to be going to the gym, but maybe even just walking a little bit.
Right.
But those things are all crucial. So it's not about necessarily what you're putting on the hair. That's the last part of my conversation, right? It's what you're putting in your body first.
I'm ex-military, so my default is always water because that was the thing. It's like, did you drink a canteen? Yes. Well, drink another canteen and come back.
All right, guys. So we are going to jump into a little guided meditation.
Just gonna play some gentle music. I don't know if you guys can hear it well. Just let us know if you can. Great.
All right, so we got an affirmative from Jessica.
Fantastic. So this is crown chakra vibration.
One
right?
moment. Before we jump into that, Nakisha asked, how often should we massage the scalp?
You can massage it daily as long as you're not overly vigorous in your massage. I wouldn't oil your scalp every single day, but that's also dependent on how much moisture you need and the texture of your hair. Those kinds of things do matter. Like I need oil every other day or every 3 days, whereas some people might do a little bit better with every day, but I kind of shy away from oiling the scalp every day unless you're washing frequently.
But you, I mean, honestly, you can do a massage without oil.
Yeah.
Also, right? So when I wash my hair, you know, and I've used a little warm water to kind of move the oil buildup or sweat or whatever out of my hair, my pores are wide open, right? And so I utilize that time to really get in a nice scalp massage, because everything is kind of like open and there for that to really all sink in and be super effective, right? But like we said, even if you're just sitting somewhere watching a show and you haven't washed your hair in a few days, you can still sit there and just gentle slow motion.
And this also doesn't have to be a long drawn out process.
No.
If you have 3 minutes to massage your scalp, 3 minutes is all you have. Do what you can.
Yeah.
Right?
All right.
We're going to sit up nice and tall to kind of give our lungs some space. And we'll close your eyes. And you're going to breathe in through your nose, nice and slow. Holding the count for 4 as you breathe in. Count to 4. And hold it for 4. And as you breathe out, allow the breath to come out through your mouth for 4. Let's do that for about 3 breath cycles. Now on your next breath in, feel the bottoms of your feet begin to sink into the floor slowly. And every time you breathe in, they sink a little more as you become a little bit more connected to the ground, to the earth. And just put a little focus into your feet. And you might begin to feel a gentle pulsing, something that feels a little like a heartbeat. And as you exhale, allow that beating, that vibration begin to make its way up your legs. Up your thighs, up your torso, out to your limbs, your arms, your fingertips, up through your neck, face, and finally up to your scalp and hair. really put some focus and energy into your scalp and down from the root of your hair all the way to the tip. And allow yourself to feel as much of your actual hair as you can. Try to notice if you can feel more of the environment around you through your hair, if you can. Does it feel cold or warm? Does it feel exciting or slow and steady? Can you sense any plants or animals in your space? And give yourself a moment to feel something bigger, something that's just outside of your body, maybe just above you. Like a little light or flower just above your head. And you might find that connection happens really quickly. It feels like some air rushing from the top of your head, up and out. That connection with your Reiki is a pathway to the ancestral realm and to your higher self. And you can open it and access it anytime. And know that it's a two-way street. And if you need strength and support, you can find it right there. And if you want guidance and wisdom, you can find it right there. And that if you need energy, it's right there. Pouring into you right when you need it. And just take a minute to be there.
if you ever get lost, you can always go back to that breath. And when you're ready to come back into your body and into the space where you exist, start by allowing your flower to close just a little bit. With each breath, with that feeling of that vibration or that drum beat, to go back into the earth slowly, down from your head, down into your torso and limbs. And each breath just brings that energy back down. Down through your thighs, and down through your legs, and down into your feet, where you can still feel that pulsing just a little bit. And you know that at any time you need to regain that connection, all you have to do is breathe and bring that energy back up into your body. And at any time you need to get rid of any energy, that Mother Earth is right there, pulsing at your feet, ready to take any negativity from you. And when you're ready, just be in that breathing cycle for a few more breaths. And allow your body to relax a little bit. And leave yourself with a little manifestation that my hair is healthy, that my body is healthy, that I am spiritually aligned, and that I am healthy. And you can affirm that out loud to the universe, because you know it's true. When you're ready to open your eyes, you can. Slowly and gently. That was wonderful. Thank you. How do you guys feel?
I'm sorry. That was so abrupt.
Are we awake? So I feel like when I meditate, it can either be grounding in a moment that I need to kind of find my foundation, or it can set my intentions as I'm moving into something, or it can really shape how I want to approach. Right. So, yes, Jessica, I completely agree. That was really good.
Thank you.
But, going back to balance, I think a short meditation, right, can happen anywhere. And so at times that you might be feeling particularly like off, or like you need to kind of just stop and silence the chaos, you can do a little meditation, right, to kind of clear that.
And again, it doesn't have to be something that is, that is this big performance. It can be as simple as, I'm going to scream at these kids right now, right? And go, I'm going to go to the car and play about 3 minutes of this music. Yes, you're welcome and thank you. And get myself in alignment a little bit and come back to the space. Hey, less stressed. You can all hear, I know that you're all feeling it and I'm feeling it too, where it's like, whoa, we did need a little, bringing it down and home, right? Yes. And it's a very easy thing for you to do. And it doesn't have to be with a lot of fanfare.
Absolutely. So we're going to talk a little bit here, guys. So of the areas that we covered, right, mental, spiritual, physical health, what do you feel needs the most support at this time for your particular hair journey? What about you, Gina?
So I am having a habit of consuming far too much news. Far too much of the news cycle. And though it's important to be informed, it can become very consuming. And that throws you out of balance mentally and spiritually. Right. And so I feel that the opportunity to engage in more spiritual practice for me right now would be so beneficial. And maybe a little bit of physical practice too. Like I could use a little sweat here and there.
I think so. That's what a check-in looks like, though, right? It's really doing an assessment and seeing, even like moment to moment, like what is a little bit off? What can I do a little bit more of? And it doesn't have to be like big things, I know that at the beginning of the year, we tend to come up with these things that we're going to do differently, right? The resolutions. But it doesn't have to be that. It could be, you know what? I have a moment right now. Let me go take a walk.
Right.
And just being fully present, I think, is super important. So you raised something that I think, I like the way that you were thinking about it, right? You said that you can consume less of the news, right? And I personally don't consume the news at all. I kind of just get it from being around people like you.
Coming in and being like, can you believe what they did today?
But I might be doing other things that I could consume less of, right? And so it's not the thing, but it's how is this thing impacting me? It's like social media, people think, oh, it's inherently bad, right? And so then you think, oh, I got to get off social media. But it's how you interact with social media. It's how you interact with the news. It's recognizing that the news is becoming too big of a piece here. And so let me dial that back and do a little bit more of the other things.
Right.
So I'm balanced, right?
And you're right, babe. Like Kendrick said, turn it off and it's getting spring time. We can get out there and grow some things and get connected and
stand on the grass barefoot.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. For me right now, I think definitely physical. Yeah. I feel like, I've been doing a lot of work in terms of just like business stuff. Right. But I'm not moving as much. And I know that when I'm not moving, like it impacts everything.
Oh, yeah.
And so when I'm here at work, I force myself to go outside and, move around a little bit, get some sunshine. All of these things are so interconnected. And so, yeah, we've got to check in with ourselves.
And you can take advantage of those little moments of peace. So like one of the things, I have a chore, like I have dogs, I have to take them outside. But first thing in the morning is the most beautiful sun. So you can take the dogs out or take your little ones out and close your eyes and face that third eye up to the sun and just get all of that morning sun into your third eye and get you nice and ready for the day. It's a chore that I have to do. I have to go outside anyway. I could be curmudgeonly and look at the ground and be grumpy about having to do that, right? Because it's still a little cold where we are in New York. But we can also take advantage of what it is that we have available to us and the time that we have available to us.
So set your intention and be fully present.
Absolutely.
Right? Makina said that we have to protect our peace at all times. Allow the universe to share with you what you need to know when it's necessary.
Absolutely.
So important.
Absolutely.
The universe is always going to tell us.
It's true.
And it's always going to show us.
It's true.
And I've learned some lessons that I don't want to learn again. So I've learned to listen. Right. But Makina, you're so right. It's that intuition. We all have it. So we have to lean into it. Right. Because once you start listening to that voice, you can be more in tune to what it's saying. Yeah. Jessica says, I'd like to move more. Happy that spring is approaching. Listen, I thought this winter was never going to end.
It's always brutal. It's always brutal. And I think especially for us as people of color, because we get a lot of our vitamin D from the sun and we don't absorb it as well through food.
Right.
It can be particularly hard. So, getting out and moving as much as we can when we have it.
Yes.
And
soaking it up.
Yeah. And seeking places of warmth in the winter. Like we have a sauna place here that, find a sauna place, find a yoga practice. If hot yoga is your jam, it's my jam. I love it. And people are like, I don't want to be in that hot room stretching and sliding. I don't care. It's 106 degrees. That's what I'm trying to get warm. So
yeah, but definitely. Just whatever it is that works to help you kind of feel more balanced.
Yeah.
Before we get into questions, kind of maybe start thinking about what questions you may have for us, but we're going to do a little raffle, guys. So we have a couple of gifts for you.
Yes.
So Gina, you can hang on to that and hang on to this one.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to tell you what we have. Then we're going to ask you guys to think of a number and throw it in the chat. And then we'll see who wins, right? We're going to have 2 winners. So the first thing that we're going to raffle off is this mini kit. And the mini kit is from my brand, Lock Artistry by AV.
Oh, the mini kit saves my life all the time. I am not going to lie, because I cannot live without these products.
So the mini kit, it's our most popular products from my product line, right? So I have a line of products to clean your hair. So a couple of shampoos. I have 2 oil-free mists. One is CNT, which is our sea moss and blend of teas oil-free mist. That's a really popular one. I also have another oil-free mist that has like green tea, algae. Both are like really good for inflammatory scalp conditions. And then I have another mist that has oil in it. It's called hydration juice. And that has basically an oil blend and some aloe juice in it. Those are the main ingredients. And that's just a one-stop shop for hydrating and moisturizing. And then we have a little body butter. Okay. So I thought, you know what? I need all these things when I'm traveling, right? So what did we do? We came up with a mini kit. And the mini kit has a 3-ounce jar of the body butter.
I think that means you can take it on the plane.
TSA approved. A 2-ounce bottle of our oil serum, which is a really popular
smells
item.
like heaven.
A 2-ounce bottle of the hydration juice. 2-ounce bottle of the shampoo. And a 2-ounce bottle of the CNT. Mm-hmm. And everything is natural, so you have to shake, okay? Anything that's in my products is completely natural. You can drink this stuff. It won't taste very good. But it's, it's important to me that anything that goes on my body is really just natural and stuff that's not going to be harmful. Right. So I make all my products and, it's stuff that you can feel good about using. Okay. So that's the first thing that we're going to raffle off. And it comes in this cute little bag. And then Gina's going to talk about our tea kit.
Hey-o. So there are 3 different teas in here. There's a detoxifying tea, an anti-inflammatory tea, which happens to be my favorite because it has hibiscus and ginger in it, and a relaxation tea, which is really good for helping to put you to sleep without forcing you down. It just helps to like relax your nerves and your body.
That's one of my favorite ones.
I know it is. and actually I formulated that tea for Amoy, and then she liked it so much that I was like, well, maybe we should just.
Well, no, everybody kept asking because people kept coming to the house and I'll give them the Nervine tea and they were super relaxed and they're like, wait, what is that? I'm like, talk to sis Gina.
So I said, why don't we just go ahead and make this? So we put together a nice little kit, and let me see if these are even open.
Yeah, that one is open, so you can show it to everyone.
So each of the little tea blends come in these cute little containers.
And those are 4-ounce jars.
Right. So each one of these is about 15 servings, and you can also use the herbs up to 3 times and still get the same medicinal properties, right? So there's also a little tea ball kit because it is loose tea. We want you to have the tea ball kit here.
Let me help you.
Oh, thank you. There we are. Oh, this one is my favorite. It's the inflammatory. It is my favorite. And
so that one has a hibiscus, and hibiscus is like so good for your hair.
Right. And this one is the calming tea, the Nervine tea, which is Amoy's favorite.
And Makina needs it for her son so he can go to sleep.
And it does help. It helps a ton. And so I pair it, this particular one, I would pair it with like a valerian. I stay away from melatonin and things like that because it's something that's produced in our body. So when you add something that your body produces, your body tends to produce less, right? So something like this that'll calm the nervous system will help to naturally put them to sleep. And then you can incorporate things like lavender on the feet or some nice sounds like ocean sounds or white noise sounds. Mm-hmm. And then it'll just settle you right down into sleep. So we have some organic tea bags and a wonderful, I'm addicted to spoons, right? I'm addicted to like spoons in particular. So when I saw these spoons, they're like long, they have a cute little scoop, and it allows you to get the right serving. So like 1 to 2 of this spoon is about the right serving for a cup of tea.
Just clear your hands here.
Thank you so much. As I'm just holding a bunch of this stuff. And all of this will be in the second raffle for everyone.
All right.
It comes in that cute little, I love a good burlap. So this is like, comes in a cute little burlap. And you can use these kinds of, this burlap can also be repurposed for, like, let's say you want to do a bath tea. You can put something like this in your bath. And so the herbs and things don't get all over the place. Mm-hmm. So if you have like skin issues or you want to do something that's particularly good for your skin, mixing things like lavender and oatmeal into the bag and then throwing it in your bathtub will make sure that you don't get oatmeal and lavender all over your tub.
And piggybacking off of that, like the hibiscus tea is a really good one to make a hair mist.
Right.
Also, so you can steep the tea, put it in a spray bottle, and use that to mist your hair like once a week, once every couple of weeks. It's a really good way of conditioning your hair without softening it. Because I personally, as a loctician, don't do conventional conditioners because it softens your hair and it undoes the locking process. So an alternate way to get the conditioning properties, which really is the deep moisture, right, is to use things like a tea mist or hot oil treatment or like an avocado mask. And thanks, Jessica, because she's the one who taught me these things in the Microloc community. But if you are going to steep tea and use it in your hair, unless you put a preservative in that tea mist, keep the mist in the fridge.
Yeah, and you need to use it within about a week, right? So just understand that when you're making the steep is that you don't want to overmake, right? You want to make maybe 2 to 3 ounces because that's all you're going to use and you're going to end up wasting your tea, although you could drink it, so there's that.
And if you're going to use the hibiscus, if your hair is gray, just be mindful because it is pink. But both of these sets are available on our website, and we're going to share the information, to contact us afterwards. But for now, Gina, let's think of a number between 1 and 25.
Okay.
Put something on your phone. Guys, she's going through a whole process.
I surely am. I'm so sorry, gang. But I am not looking
at
the chat, so I don't know what you all are saying.
You guys go ahead. I see we don't have it yet. Keep going.
Yep. Tanya's reading my mind because that was my first mental choice, and I was like, make it harder than that.
All right. Not yet. Nope. Keep going.
Keep it going. Oh.
All right. Main moves. It was 17.
That's right.
All right. So main moves has one. Which one should we get her? Main moves. Let's see. Eeny, meeny,
oh, wait.
miny.
Hold on. The main is in the name.
Yeah. So main moves is the winner of the first raffle. Main Moves Media. We might need your help. We're gonna have to talk. Let's do the tea set.
All right.
Tea set to Main Moves.
All right.
So we are going to need you to. We'll connect with you in a moment, Main Moves, but and whoever wins the next one also, so that we can get your information. But essentially, we'll give you our cell phone numbers as well as our email, and we would just like your name, your email, your number, and your mailing address so we can get this stuff out to you. Okay? All right. Another number.
Oh,
let's say from 0 to 15. All right, 0 to 15, go. And Main Moves, you can't
you can't win twice.
All right, we'll get your contact from Jessica. All right, nothing yet, guys. Keep going. You're close. Nakisha, you are the winner. She's just quick on that.
I know. She was like, I'm gonna get this. Nakisha, you got it. You got it. You
All
got
right,
it.
congrats, Nakisha. You've won the mini kit.
All right.
All right. You got, wrong thing. So, do you guys have any questions for us? Actually, no, let's first show you our contact info and all that stuff. So we came up with this 7-day hair wellness challenge that we thought would be kind of cool for us to do, right? So if you want, you can take a picture of this and let's engage in this together, right? So day 1, you want to hydrate. So drink at least 8 glasses of water. Day 2, show your scalp some love. Do a 5-minute scalp massage, right? Day 3, try a nutrient boost. Eat a hair nourishing meal. Gina, you want to talk about the other ones?
Oh, sure. Day 4, you have some affirmations that say positive things to your hair. It's funny how affirmations can really like change your energy, right? I used to do this thing where I would say affirmations into the water that I was drinking and then ingest the water so that it was going to all the parts of my body, right? And then on day 5, we want to have a hair care ritual, maybe do an herbal rinse, or you're going to get that tea and spray it on in your hair, right?
Exactly.
Day 6, incorporate some stress release techniques, like maybe like the meditation that we did, or some yoga.
And day 7, reflect. Write down how your hair feels after this journey. Aset, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Aset,
for joining us for this, and we really enjoyed your input.
Oh, thank you.
All right, so connect with us. So you can just scan the QR code if you'd like, but you could also email us heal@sankofacommunity.com. Our website is sankofawellnesscommunity.com. Through Sankofa's website, you can connect over to Lock Artistry as well. Our phone numbers are, for myself, 845-600-9444. Gina can be reached at 845-204-8205. We are located in Milton, New York, which is in the Hudson Valley.
Right.
So it's close to Poughkeepsie, Wappingers, Newburgh, Highland, those areas.
We're centrally located, and you can find us off of the Mid-Hudson line, right? We're right across the bridge from the last stop on the Mid-Hudson line.
Yeah, on Metro North Railroad. So we are across the bridge from the Poughkeepsie stop. And then connect with us on social media. So we're on Instagram at Sankofa Wellness Community.
Yes.
All right, so
thank you all for being so patient with us and being engaging and being such like a wonderful audience. And this was like so amazing. Thank you.
Did you guys still need to see our contact information, or did you have that? Actually, let me just pull it back up. Does anyone have any questions while I'm pulling that back up?
All right.
The QR code will take you to, it should take you to all this information within Canva. If that is not what's happening, then I will be sure to fix it. You're welcome, Makina. We really are so happy that everyone was able to tune in.
Yeah, thank you.
And like I said, the winners, please send us. Okay, so Nakisha, you can send us an email, heal@sankofacommunity.com, or just text one of us the information. Either way is fine.
Right.
We need your name, your phone number, and your email address, and also your mailing address.
Right.
And we'll get that stuff shipped out to you. You guys are so welcome. You were a great audience, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Main moves, if you want to just also send us your information or via text, you can do that on the last page. We have all of our information there as well. That way we can just get connected with you and get your information, okay?
I'm going to fix that QR code right now.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you so much. You guys have a wonderful rest of your Sunday, and hopefully you can do that 7-day challenge.
Heyo.
This was amazing. I didn't realize I was on mute. Thank you so much, Amoy and Gina. I really thoroughly enjoyed this.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Yes. And if anyone needs any more information, if you're having any issues, you can also contact us, and I'll put my contact information up. I want to make sure everyone has taken a screenshot of the Sankofa Wellness Community's info. I'm going to make it full size. Take a screenshot. Okay. And thank you so much. I'm going to put up our information as well. I'm going to say goodbye real quick. Everyone is saying thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. This was great. This was great. Okay, so I am going to share the information for Microloc Mastery as well for those who are a part of our community or would like to be a part of our community. We actually have, for this entire month, a focus on wellness, mental wellness, physical wellness, and in all of its connections to our hair, our body, our spirit. You all are quite welcome. I'm going to go ahead and put our contact information for those who may want to follow Microloc Mastery as well. Let me go ahead and take off that. So follow us on Instagram, Microloc.mastery, Facebook, YouTube. There's 2 YouTube pages. And listen, we have free webinars, free Facebook group. You're going to find that information on freemicroloctraining.com. For our Facebook group, you would just /join, but you would take off join and put info if you would like to get all the links. So that would be freemicroloctraining.com /info if you would like to get connected to our free webinars. We also have a Microloc Mastery community full of professionals, and we offer access to that community. If you would like to take advantage of our workshops and you may or may not be in the full program, we are extending an offer out for people who would like to attend all of our workshops. So I'm going to go ahead and put that link on the bottom as well. And thank you all for joining. Just let me get the code. Bottom of the screen. I think my mouse just died. So any feedback, any comments or questions before we close out? Did you enjoy this? Is a little bit different. Did you enjoy it? Do you have any further questions? My link. Okay. I see. You really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Yeah, I don't have the scroll. So that's our information. Take a screenshot. And thank you all so much for coming. And Microloc Mastery members, we'll see you in the community. Have a great rest of your Sunday. And I'll talk again with you soon.